Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Latoya Wells. I am Dr. Latoya Wells, Doctor of Nursing Practice and owner of Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. We are here for another great topic relating to back to school. For those of you who don't know me, I want to just take a few moments just to introduce myself. I am Dr. Latoya Wells, Doctor of Nursing Practice, family nurse practitioner, and owner of Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. We are a full service primary care practice. We are now accepting insurances. Isn't that exciting? We have some exciting news. We're offering some additional services. Be on the lookout for social media land for all the information pertaining to that. Tonight, we're going to continue our discussion on back to school. We talked about several different things related to back to school, how to prepare the kids. Now that they're back in school, what do we do? Tonight, we're going to pivot and shift just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the college age students, those that are going back to college. So, whether it's a freshman, they're starting their college year as a freshman, this is their first time away from home, or it's a journey of a individual who's been in college and they were home for the summer and now they're going back for another semester. We're talking about preparing your whole self, right? As you know, for those of you who have been here, I say often, we can't do anything if we're not 100%. So if you're not taking care of yourself mentally, financially, physically, relationally, and spiritually, you're not going to be able to thrive in any environment. And so these segments or these areas of your life are something that's so important as you are preparing to go back to college. And so I want to make sure that I'm providing information for those parents who have students who are going to college and for those college students who may be listening in the background. I want to make sure that you're able to thrive for college. And so, you guys know I love statistics. And according to the American College Health Association, nearly 60% of college students report experiencing overwhelming anxiety, and 40% experience depression symptoms during the first year of school and also during school at some point. But the levels are higher, or the numbers are higher for those first time freshmen, those who are fresh out of high school, first time being away from home. They tend to experience depression and anxiety at a higher rate than others. What I want you to do is drop a chat if you're starting your first semester, if you're watching this, if you're returning, or parents who are watching. If you have a college freshman or a college student that is returning, or for those college students who have graduated, if you have some advice that you'd like to share with some of those individuals who are getting ready for that journey and who've already started. I know we're in August 20th, so many colleges have opened back up. Many students have gone back on campus. Some have, just now made their way onto campus and so forth. But drop some nuggets, drop some tips and things that was helpful for you that may be helpful for someone else. And tonight we're also going to spend a little bit of time talking about the parents because, as I mentioned before, there's so much emphasis placed on raising the child, right? Preparing you for pregnancy, preparing for you for when you are pregnant, preparing you to carry the baby and to birth the baby, and then all these books on early childhood parenting. But nothing really prepares you for when your child, that one gift that you've gotten, that you put all of your efforts into raising them and making sure that they were prepared for when they're driving away to go to college, or when you're dropping them at the dorm, or when they've got their first job right out of college and they're moving to a different state at 19, 20, 22, 23 years old. And that can be tough. And there's really not a lot of resources. How do I know? Because I searched myself. I struggled during that time when my youngest, when she went away to college. We got through it. She graduated and she's doing amazing now, still trying to navigate some things, but she's figuring it out. And that's what they have to do. They have to figure it out. So some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is the mental load of college. And we've talked about mental load a lot because I don't think it's something that was talked about in the past a lot, the mental load. And so we're all carrying a mental load to some degree. And how you navigate and how you deal with that is going to depend on who you are and the mental fortitude that you have. and knowing that we don't have to carry it all by ourselves. Big life transitions such as new environment, independence, academic pressure, and especially if this individual is a student athlete, if they hold any type of position within a club or organization or sorority or fraternity, that comes with a lot of responsibility. And some of the common struggles are homesickness. Listen, I was homesick for my child, and we hadn't even we hadn't even made it back from DC, and we were in the car. Managing stress, balancing freedoms with responsibility. We see often that kids go away to school and this is their first time away from home and they struggle and they really lack that foundation because now they have all this newfound freedom and they don't know what to do with it. Some of the tips that I wanna bring up when it comes to the mental load and helping them to be able to navigate and have a healthy and successful transition is use of counseling resources that are on campus. And if they had a counselor that they were utilizing before, let's just say that individual was, taking partaking in counseling when they were home. Seeing if that counselor has a recommendation or if they can do telehealth, if they have a license in that state where your child is or that young adult is. Practice time blocking when it comes to managing classes and assignments, blocking out times for studying, blocking out time for when you got to be in school and getting dressed, and when you got to be in class and getting dressed, and when you got to eat, and especially if you're a student athlete, managing practice schedules and all the things. And then journaling or mindfulness to help them process their emotions. Having a good relationship with your parents and family members back at home can help you because you know that you have that support when they're struggling, when they're not having a good day, they can call on someone. I can say for me, I probably overdid it, but I wanted to make sure that our daughter, who first time away from home, had everything that she needed. So I would send her care packages like several times a month, or and then it was once a month, and things of that nature. And as she got to her, higher up, and her senior year, we didn't send that many care packages, but we were there. We showed up. We made sure that she knew she had support. And we had a traumatic event that happened in our family while she was in college, and it was the death of my grandmother. She happened to be home during that time, but it was traumatic nonetheless. And she had to go back to school and be expected to pick up on things and keep going as you know classes weren't going to stop, volleyball wasn't going to stop, but just to make sure that she had that support was very important for us. The second thing that I want to talk about is financially. When we have kids that go away to college and we haven't set the financial foundation for them, they don't know how to manage things. They don't know how to budget. And I don't know that this is something that's taught in school. And many students now are getting NIL funding. They're getting, all the things, right? I can't remember the name of what they're, people sponsorships is what I wanted to say. They have different organizations sponsoring them, and they're getting all this money and all the things, and the NIL stipends, and they get stipends at college. Some of them, and some of them are working. They decided that they want to work, and so now they're away from home, and they don't know how to manage the money. So making sure that they have the budgeting basics in on board, knowing income, where's the income coming from? And not all students have supportive families to where, just go to school. You don't have to worry about working or doing anything. We just need you to go to school and do well, and we got the rest. Well, not all. That's not the story for all students. So where are they getting monies from? Scholarships. Many colleges offer work study. I can remember being in work study programs that during classes or before school or the days that I did not have class, I was working in the library. I was working in the chem lab, things of that nature, to make money so that I had money to take care of things that I needed to take care of. And then, of course, family support. But how are they managing the money that they're getting from family? How are they managing the money from working and work study versus, are they having to pay for books? Are they having to pay for housing or food? Do they have scholarships that take care of that? If not, what can they do, right? Maybe they got a scholarship to get into school, but it doesn't pay for everything. How are they going to navigate and manage that? That's a lot on a young individual who is now ready to start their journey in college and they have all these other things on there. Statistic, as you guys know I love, the average college student spends over $1,200 annually on textbooks and supplies. And this is according to the National College Board. $1,200 on textbook and supplies. So if you are a student who does not have that support, you need to know where you're going to get these funds from. Call to action. Start a simple budget this week for those of you who are students who are either you're in high school and you haven't started your college process yet, or you're a parent. Sit down with your student, sit down with your child and walk them through the budget. It's not too late, even if they're away at college. Sit down with them this week and start a budget. That's something that we're doing this week with our family. We're looking at and developing a budget, and we're pulling in our young adult in that with us because she's preparing now to go off on her own, and we want to make sure that she has all of the foundations and the basics that she needed. That's not something that I focused on when she was preparing to go away to college. I just wanted to make sure that she had everything that she needed, but we took care of everything. So that was a part where I felt like we could have done better as parents, if I'm being honest. Looking at apps that they can download on their phone to budget. There's a checkbook app on your phone, a check register, and on your phone. And I can remember finding it. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this, because for me, I was that person that had a checkbook and I was writing all the things down, and that's how it helped me to balance and to keep track of everything. But once things became digital, then you forget. So call to action, parents. I want you to take time today or sometime this week to help your child or your college student develop a budget. How are we preparing them mentally and psychologically for college and for being away? So some of the things that I want to highlight is coping skills, deep breathing, different grounding techniques. I'm not well versed in that. I've read some things on different grounding techniques, but you can do your own research. Building resilience, viewing challenges as growth opportunities. I can remember, and she's probably gonna get me when she hears this, but I can remember my daughter saying, "If someone's gonna be an example, I'm always the example. Something's always happening to me. Why? Why am I always the one that whatever?" And I would try and get her to reframe it and look at it from a different perspective, that there's a reason behind everything that happens to us, and take this as a learning lesson. What can you learn from this? What can you get from this to make sure that if this situation or scenario were to come around a second time, that you have what you need to make sure that you're successful and not going back to the same place. And then it's important to ask for help. Ask for help when it's early. Your professors, your advisors, your counselors. I can remember when my daughter went away to college, they had her she got to do an overnight stay with the volleyball students and the volleyball team, and she got to build those relationships early. So I feel when these kids are going into college for the first time, have them participate in the pre-college stuff that happens for the incoming freshmen. They have freshman days. They have, new parent days and family days. Participate in those things. Build a community with other parents that are in the same area as your kids. And so we had parents that when we couldn't be there and they were there, if our daughter needed something, they would get it for her, and vice versa. I can remember being there and one of the other players was sick. I communicated with her mom, "Hey mom, what does she need? This is what I'm seeing, and me being in healthcare, this is what I'm seeing, whatever, here's the situation. Yep, we're gonna go ahead and get her this and make sure she's taken care of." It's just that important. And there were people in the city. Our church, our main campus is right there. So if we needed anything, all we had to do was make a couple phone calls and make sure that she was good, especially during the pandemic. But just making sure that they have that community to, support them, the family check-ins, the group chats, and campus organizations to help. The next thing is preparing physically. We've talked about this, and there's something called the freshman 15 that I heard it before, but in preparing for tonight's session, I did some research on that and just kind of looking into some things. And there are some freshmen who, one, gain up to 15 pounds in their freshman year. And there's also many who lose up to 15 pounds in their first year. And it just depends. Some deal with stress by overeating. Some deal with stress with not eating enough. And when I first heard of the freshman 15, I'm thinking it's weight gain, but it's more than that. It can be either one. Sleeping, and again, they got this freedom. They're out there on their own. They don't have anyone to tell them, hey, what time are you going to bed? They may not have classes until the afternoon, and so they're up hanging out in the yard or whatever, and in the common areas, and can lose track of time and oversleep for classes and oversleep for practices, things of that nature. So aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep and trying to avoid the all-nighters. I can tell you, I didn't go away to college, but I did go to college, but I didn't go away. I didn't stay on, go away to college campus. I went to a local community college, and then I went to UCF and University of Phoenix and things of that nature. And then I went to Loyola, but I did not stay on campus. And so I remember pulling all-nighters because I felt like I needed to study and get all the things. But in the end, I was real tired and didn't do my body too good. And then fitness, utilizing the campus rec rooms and different things that are happening within the campus to help them stay active, joining different organizations and clubs and taking walks and things of that nature. Especially if they have a school that has a really good walkable score, meaning that they're in a good area that's pretty safe, that they can kind of get out and walk. But being safe, that someone always knows where they are, and that if they are going out, that they're doing the buddy system. And one thing that I really admired about my daughter's experience, and even now to this day, her teammates still have her location and they can track each other. And they did that from when they bonded, over volleyball and became friends, that they always knew where each other was. And there was not a time that anybody went somewhere that no one knew where they were. Now, we as parents probably didn't know where they were, but they knew where each other, where they were. And that was just their safety net to make sure that someone knew where they were at all times. So preparing next is one thing I want to talk about, is preparing relationally, building positive relationships, avoid toxic circles. And when I tell you, there can be some pretty toxic circles even outside of college, but when they go to college, there can be some things that happen, and they are they're exposed to different people, different environments, and things that they normally wouldn't do. Now they're getting involved with certain people and certain things. So just making sure that they know who they are and what their foundation is, and that no matter what, it's never too bad to call home or to get help or what have you. And stay connected to family, as I mentioned, while they're creating independence, making sure that they're staying connected to family. And sadly, there are some kids who don't have family. Some kids who don't have a good relationship with their family. And going away to college is like a breath of fresh air for them. And so it's important for them to build positive, solid relationships at school, that they can individuals they can bond with and have that sense of community and family. And then network with professors and mentors early. So if they're looking to go in a certain field or their degree program is a certain thing, get involved with individuals who are in that field and with the professors to try and figure out who can they start networking with to get those opportunities for internships and externships when the time comes. And then preparing spiritually is one of the things that I want to talk about as well. Staying grounded in their faith. I read an article about students and their religiosity, and regardless of what their faith or beliefs were, that upwards of 60% of children and young adults, when they go away to college, they fall away or they break away from the religion or the beliefs that they were raised with. That's a high number. And so as a parent, as a Christian and a parent of faith, a woman of faith, one of the things that I did was I prayed for my children before they left home and while they were gone. But I stand on some scriptures and some words that I know for a fact work, right? And so I told and I had this conversation with my mom. I know you're going to go off and you're going to go into the world and you're going to experience things. Everyone does, right? But just be safe and make smart decisions, because every decision that you make has a consequence. And you better be ready to deal with the consequence of the decisions that you make. And if we can get them to see it from that vantage point, then they'll be okay. So, mom, dad, they're going to be okay. They will be okay. And for those who are not okay, it's still going to be okay, right? It's still going to be okay. Just stay close to them. Make sure that they're connected. Keep in contact with them. Make sure that they have the support that they need. So, different things that they can do: meditation, remembering their personal values, staying close to family members. If there's a church, if there are individuals that go to church or participate in corporate worship, seeing if they can find a church that's in the area close by the school. Many campuses have church organizations on their school, or have the opportunity for students who would like to get involved in these different um, you know opportunities that they have. And so just making sure that they are using their spiritual and religious centers on campus. There's so many different opportunities, shall I say, for them when it comes to that. And then journaling and practicing daily gratitude and reflecting on their day, just to kind of help them stay grounded in their faith. Health and wellness. You guys know I'm all about health and wellness. So making sure that they're staying hydrated, that they're getting the nutrition that they need. Many times they're away from home when they get sick. They don't know what to do because they're used to mom or dad or whoever is their caregiver at home just taking care of them. We've had students go away to college and have some major health issues going on and end up in the hospital. And one of the things that I did not know, that I found out from an attorney friend of ours, is that you need to get certain legal things in place for your student, because if they get to a point where they're in the hospital and they can't speak for themselves, because they're over the age of 18, you as a parent have no right or bearing to make any decisions for them when it comes to their health. So speak to your attorney, talk to your students, talk to your children about what their wishes are, because we just never know. Life is life and things happen. So we want to make sure that we have everything into place. Practice stress relief daily: stretching, yoga, journaling, prayer, walking, all the things that can help. Keeping a balanced routine, making sure that they have a schedule and that they're sticking with their schedule. Study time, resting, socializing, self-care. One thing I can say is my daughter made sure she had her days of self-care. We would FaceTime or she would call and she has on a face mask, or she has her candles burning and what have you, and she just kind of vibing out, as she would call it. But just making sure that they have things in place to help them when it comes to their health and wellness. And then limit caffeine and alcohol. We can preach that all day long, right? Limit caffeine, limit alcohol. But the number of, I don't even know the names of them, the popular energy drinks that these young people are drinking, even adults are drinking, the number of free cans of those that were being handed out all over campus was amazing, right? And so just making sure that they're being mindful of that. Some of the other things that I want to talk about is just like personal tips, things that they can do. Making their dorm or their apartment, because some students have off campus housing, a wellness zone, making sure that they have plants and calming music and things from home that remind them of home, so that it's like bringing a little piece of home with them. And then just making sure that their space is clean. And that can be hard if they're doubling up with someone in a room. They have a dorm room and it's them and a roommate. Or if they're living in a quad and they share a common bathroom and a common kitchen area. It can be tough because not everybody has the same values when it comes to cleanliness and keeping their space. And maybe this is their first time away from home and they've always been in a very clean, sterile environment and they're kind of rebelling. We just never know what's going on with them, but just making sure that they have support, using a planner or different apps that they can utilize to help keep track of assignments and due dates and things of that nature, and planning ahead, right? If you know there's a big party coming up on Friday, but you got a test on Monday, then juggling that, right? And balancing it out. They can still have fun, but yet take care of business is what I would tell my daughter. Have fun, but take care of business. And then celebrate the small wins. Every quiz that they take that they pass, every paper that they pass, every project that's completed is progress towards the end of that year. And they're into the next year. And before you know it, they're ending year 3, going into their senior year. And they're looking back like, wait, where did time go? So, in closing, I want to just kind of recap a few things. It's important that we are helping these young adults prepare financially, mentally, physically, psychologically, relationally, spiritually. We want to, I want to reassure you that college is a journey, it's not a sprint, and it's step by step. Take it step by step. And there are some times where I had to tell my daughter, babe, take a deep breath and take it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, because that's just how sometimes you're able to navigate and get through the day with all of the demands and all of the things that it's pulling at them when they are new at college or if it's their senior year. There's so many different things. I want to encourage weekly check-ins. How are you doing in each area? If you're a parent, have this conversation with your kids. Bring up these different topics. How are they doing in each area? What areas are they struggling? Where do they need more support? What areas are they excelling in? And can they maybe help someone else or share some of those tips and tricks that they've put into place to help them? I want to just mention this, and I know I have a group of individuals that have been following my page and watching Wellness Wednesdays from the beginning. And I just want to say thank you so much. I want you to share this page so that your friends and family, your colleagues can follow us for wellness tips. Each week we talk about a different topic. We'll have some different things coming out on social media. Also, if you have not had an opportunity to subscribe and like our YouTube channel, do that. Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. We're on YouTube. So all of our episodes that we have and that I've recorded are on YouTube. We're getting back into the season where I'm going to start having some more guest speakers and just talk about some amazing topics. So if there's any topics that you would like to hear about, let me know. I also have a free college success checklist. So if you would like that, I can definitely send that to you. Just DM me and we'll get that over to you. And then I want you to drop your best tip for surviving college in the comments to help students. Many of us went to college. I didn't stay on campus, but I was in school for a long time. And I know many individuals who've been in college who can share some tips and nuggets for these individuals that are going to college. My thoughts are with those parents who are going to become empty nesters because their babies are going away to college. That was an area where I struggled big time. And I did not have the support. There was really little to no support that I found to help me navigate that or get through that. So I have you in my thoughts. I'm holding you all close. I know this is a difficult time. This is probably the first time that you've been in a house and there's no one else in there other than you or you and your partner. You're used to kids running around. You're used to teenagers, stuff all over the floor. You're used to calling out a name and someone's there to answer. But just know that they're on a new journey and this is time for you to begin your new journey as well. I just want to say thank you all so much for joining me here tonight for Wellness Wednesday. Stay safe and be well. Until next time, we will see you soon. Bye.